It's the Worldwide Sports Radio Network.
We are live right now on the Worldwide Sports Radio Network. Thank you for joining us, the Sports Hit List by the fans and for the fans. We have Chuck is in the building. Chuck, how you doing, sir?
Not too bad. How about yourself?
I'm hanging in. Tough week. I'm doing my best to get through this show. I may not be at my 100% self, but we are here. I also have Michael Sparacino in the building. Mike, how you doing, man?
Yeah, doing all right. You know, it's Wednesday. It's hump day. So,
yeah, this week, the last 2 weeks have been pretty rough. I didn't get a chance. Rest in peace to DMX, who passed away last week. And then now this week with everything going on, yet again, we're at a standstill. I know it's a tough topic to talk about, but I must speak about it, where another innocent black man was gunned down in Minnesota, Dante Wright. So my condolences to him and his family. Also, Lieutenant Karan Narzio, we saw what police did to him in Virginia. So it's really terrible, the things that still continue to go on in this country. And it's at a point where I'm at loss for words. And it's a matter of, how can we continue to grow better no matter what we do? I do my best as an educator to speak about these topics. I teach the courses where we talk about these things, but for some reason, the narrative seems to never change in this country. And it's a standstill where you're kind of wondering, what else can we do? And in search for answers is, what else can we do as a society and as a country to get bypass, just to get equal opportunity for everyone and equal treatment upon everyone. So prayers out to those families, prayers out to anyone who's affected. If you guys have any other words to add to that, I just wanted to bring light to the topic before we get into sports, which is what we're here to do. But something has to change. Something has to change, and we can't be afraid to talk about these topics as these things go on in this country. Chuck.
No, I definitely agree with you, Carl. Unfortunately, I don't have an answer, and I don't think you have an answer, and I don't think Mike has an answer. And I think these things keep happening, which they absolutely suck, but unfortunately, they're probably still going to keep happening until, we get a legit answer, and who knows, how long that's going to take. So I think it's good that we can have, open conversations about it. I'm happy that you bring it to your platform and that it gives us a chance to all speak out on it. And I think awareness within society is the best battle to combat it, if that's the correct terminology. Other than that, I just don't have any answers. It sucks, seeing it happen, time and time again. But at the end of the day, it's what can we do? And I think that's the biggest concern.
Mike.
I mean, your question says it all. What else can we do? It's like, I think you, me, and Chuck, we're doing all that we can to try and stop this from happening, from not putting ourselves or not intentionally putting ourselves in those situations. But the fact that it happens on a daily basis, you just never know what anybody's going to do in any given moment. And it sucks that these things keep happening. I mean, all we can do is just try to be our best selves on a daily basis, treat everyone with respect, and do what we can do to try and not have any of these things happen. Again,
condolences to Dante Wright and his family for what they're going through. I can't imagine what his parents, I saw the interview on ABC 7 with it. And I know sports players, I know they didn't have, they postponed some games in Minnesota because of it. I know Yankees player Aaron Hicks decided he wasn't going to play in the game because of it. Chuck, I saw a comment about your Yankees real quick before I get into hockey that, this team is not built to win. There's something along those lines. Are you still believing that, or is it too early to tell in the game to talk?
I think the problem with the Yankees, it's the same pattern, and we've seen it. They're not built for the postseason. It's a one-dimensional lineup. They're not fundamentally good. Right now, the rotation behind Cole absolutely stinks, and it's something I mentioned to you, during the offseason and before we had the MLB preview. Their rotation is horrible. Kluber hasn't pitched, in a year or so. He looks bad. Tyon looks a little bit better, but he's not going to give you, more than 140 innings. Montgomery is hit or miss. And then the fifth spot is, up for grabs. It stinks. And they're burning their bullpen, which isn't going to be good come, the dog days of summer. So I just don't know what to say about it. I think Cashman has to do something to shake up this team. They're flat. They have no energy whatsoever. And I think they're not going to go far in the playoffs. I have absolutely no hope for them.
Well, wouldn't you say it's a little too, again, premature? We're still in the first month of the season, would you say, to give them a chance to get themselves loose? We're still under the COVID restrictions kind of thing. Is it again too early to tell, or are we forecasting?
Yes, you are correct. It's too early to to harp on them and whatnot, but it's kind of like when you start watching reruns of your favorite show. You just can't get into it because you know how the story ends.
Speak for yourself on the reruns, because I still watch them. Stop it.
Well, Carl, it's kind of like why I'm starting to hate Chicago Fire, because even though it's something new, I know how the story's going to end before we get to the conclusion. And I compare it to the Yankees, like, yeah, they could go out and win, but I know that when they get to October, I know how the season is going to end, and it just pisses me off. So until they do something dramatic and to change the dynamic of the team, they're not going to go anywhere.
Mike, are you a big baseball fan at all? I mean, you're a Mets fan, right?
Baseball.
You hate baseball?
Yeah, but let me just say one thing about baseball. I do work at Citi Field. Don't ask me how that happened, but I feel so bad for Jacob deGrom. The guy pitches gem after gem after gem. And whether it's the lineup just not being able to hit for him or the bullpen blowing games, that guy's lost so many games over the last couple of years. It's just like, it really makes a guy wonder, like, why did I re-sign with this
I
team?
saw a stat that said every time he pitches well, the Mets have a losing record.
Oh, I
over the
100%
last 2-3
believe
years.
that.
So it's a matter of what can the Mets do to surround him with for them to win. It just seems like when he plays well, they play bad. So what's the solution to that problem? Do the Mets need to put better players around him? What can they do in that situation?
Well,
honestly,
before I throw it to Charlie, I'm just going to say a lot of people say their bullpen still stinks and that they didn't do anything to really upgrade it over the offseason. So with that, Chuck, go right ahead.
Yes, I do agree with the bullpen. They just don't hit for him. I mean, it's kind of like at this point, you got to think that it's just bad luck. Like, you feel so bad for the guy. He goes out there, barely gives up a run, but then again, the Mets don't even score a run. So I think it's just bad luck at the end of the day. And it sucks because he's the best pitcher in the MLB at this point, but he gets no help from his other, 25.
So is it just right? But is it just when he's on the mound, or is it just the Mets in general? Because again, I'm not a big Met fan. I wouldn't be able to answer that. But would you say that they play better for the other pitchers, or it's just the ground that they can't seem to hit for?
I mean, I don't know if they play better because they have been struggling offensively to open the season, but it's a point where the stats get highlighted more and talked about more because it's DeGrom's start and it continually happens to him. If it was just, some bum fifth pitcher on like the Colorado Rockies, then we wouldn't be talking about this. But because it's Jacob deGrom, I think that's why it gets so much attention.
All right. So that baseball was just a little bit for Greg Polius, who seems to believe that I don't like to talk about baseball. And on his Smoke and Mirrors, it seems as there's a rivalry because he was happy that on his show, on Monday, he was able to talk a full hour of baseball. Wow. And he's like, wow, like the first time ever in Hitless history that they do that. I don't do that because I can never go that long. But to toot Greg's horn and to make him happy and his fans, I gave him the little bit of baseball that they wanted to hear. We are here to talk about some other sports. My hockey guys, the NHL Trade Deadline passed. Mike, what were your thoughts going out of that?
Well, first off, I thought it was a pretty tame deadline as like per the norm, especially compared to last year when there was like twice as many trades involving twice as many players and like almost twice as many draft picks. This one just felt a little tame. There was no one really huge on the trade market to begin with, unless you want to put Taylor Hall in that situation, which at this point, I don't, but I mean, there were still a couple of first rounders moved, some of which were very questionable, but just tame overall feeling.
Chuck, what are your thoughts with the trade deadline? You guys, chat hasn't been that, I guess, electrifying as the others. Like every hitless sport has a specific chat. I think Chuck's in 3 of them. And out of all of them, it seems like hockey doesn't seem to have that many things going on. So were you satisfied with that trade deadline? What's going on with the NHL season?
I think what hurt the trade deadline most was that its biggest piece got moved the day before the actual deadline, so it kind of made for like a stale Monday, so to say. But I think the reason why the other chats are popping, so to say, is because the Rangers aren't having too good of a season, so all the Ranger fans are kind of quiet. And in that chat, Carl, me and you are the only Islander fans. So I'm not just going to be sitting there kind of, talking to myself.
well, you know what? The Ranger fans don't speak much either. I mean, it's like touch and go. Like I'll get a random text at like 11 o'clock at night because someone did something significant. I'm like, all right, what happened? I'll look it up and then I'll just roll myself back to bed. And I'm like, okay, fine, whatever. But it's it's pretty quiet as opposed to, I guess. Would you say hockey picks up more towards the playoffs, like going into the playoffs?
Yes, definitely. But the reason why I've been kind of quiet is because it's kind of like you don't want to start, with the bragging, too quick because I don't want to jinx anything. So right. I like to keep, content, just play each game and just be happy and move on. But for the trade deadline, the Islanders made the biggest splash first off last Wednesday last Wednesday when they got Palmieri and Zajac from the Devils. That solidified their lineup. Probably one of the better teams in the East, right? Do they even play in the East Division? Everything got mixed up this year.
Yep.
Yeah, so the East Division, which is so weird to say, but I mean, it's cup or die for them pretty much. And I said that before the season started. This is their window's open, so let the fresh air in and let's go on a run. But I think Taylor Hall being moved, we all saw it coming. Buffalo didn't get a big return, which is unsatisfying considering the type of player Hall is, even though Mike disagrees. And I think the Capitals overpaid to get Mantha at the deadline, a first and a second, plus Vrana and who else did they give up?
Honick.
Yeah, so I think that was a bad move for them. But each team in the East Division made a move. So it goes to show that, this last month actually is going to be, you punch me, I'm going to punch you right back 10 times harder.
Mike, how's that rookie doing for the Rangers? You satisfied?
If you're talking about number 1 overall pick, Alexi Laferniere, he's picked up his game as of late. I like what I'm seeing from him now. You got to remember, though, he's 19 years old and he's coming off basically a pandemic where there was no training camp essentially, and he's coming straight from juniors. So there's obviously going to be, bumps in the road. Nobody's going to be the best player in the NHL at 19 years old. Not even Connor McDavid was able to achieve that. But I just correct Charlie. Maybe you should stir some shit up in the chat. Maybe it'll get things a little more lively. I would.
What? I'm going to put something right now. Go Islanders and see what the.
You want me to start? You want me to start texting during the stream? Okay.
Why not? Let's go for it, right? So that's a little bit of insight for those who don't know.
Carl, check my reply to that.
And then he wrote "fuck off." All right, thanks a lot. Appreciate it.
Carl, I do promise you that once the playoffs start, I would be very active after every game. I will be sending GIFs and videos and memes and whatnot. They will be there.
Listen, I'll be honest with you. Every time I was on the Cross Island, I think on Monday, every time I pass by, I kind of want to take a picture, but I'm driving and I can't. And I think about you guys. Every time I pass it, I kid you not, I think about you. I think about all the hockey guys. I'm like, we're going to be here in a couple of months, just to see the game start. So I think it's pretty it's amazing because I'm always on there and you see the development of that. First it was nothing and now it's like actually there. It's gonna suck. Yeah, it's gonna suck for traffic. I'll tell you that much. That's already right at that location is the Southern State, is the Belt Parkway and the Cross Island because they all kind of meet. So it's gonna be jam packed from people coming in and out. It's gonna be unbelievable when it finally opens up for sure.
But Carl, when there are games there in June and then we get to celebrate with a parade, I don't think you're going to be caring about traffic too much.
Not at all. We'll be taking Mike with us, both Mikes with us for sure.
Yeah, no, I'm good. Definitely. I'll be hiding in my basement, probably just watching a movie or something.
Before I let you guys go, any surprises to look forward to as we head into – when do the playoffs start? Do the playoffs start soon, right?
They're supposed to start after May 11th, but the Canucks have a bad bout with COVID. I don't know if you heard about it. They had I think 25 people between the team and the coaching staff come down with various strains of COVID. So they haven't played in I think 3 weeks. Oh. So the season was supposed to end May 11th, I believe, but now it might have to be extended just so the Canucks can just make up their games.
Mike, anything's going into the rest of the season and the playoffs?
I mean, I'm just really just looking forward to playoff hockey again, man. I need to see teams just battle it out every night. Bad blood getting, escalated over the course of a series. It just makes for some great TV and just very entertaining. Look, you may think the basketball playoffs are good, but remember that mini spiel I gave you last year about how Charles Barkley was saying the hockey playoffs were better?
I listen, everyone's going to say the same thing. Greg's going to say baseball playoffs are better. I'm going to think the NBA playoffs are better. Everyone's going to think the NFL playoffs are better. To each its own. It's like bragging rights in the Hitler streets. Everyone's going to believe that their sport has the best postseason. Like, there's no way to prove which one it has the best. Like, the only way you can go by is go by the numbers, and the NFL trumps all of our numbers. So it doesn't add up at the end of the day.
Well,
and I think it's rarely the most entertaining.
Well, I think the NFL trumps it is because the NFL is just a one game, you're one and you're done. And they only play, the one time a week where a majority of the people are off from work. So they have that flexibility where you could sit home on the weekend, watch the playoffs. It's not like a 7-game series where you got to watch each game and then it takes like 2 weeks. So I think that's why the NFL does so much better numbers wise, so to say. But to stir the pot real quick, I think the Rangers have the worst fan base, and not even in the NHL, maybe in all of sports. I've never
all of sports is a stretch.
Listen, I actually asked that question too. I did ask that question, which the question was worded, which is the most delusional fan base? So you're saying the Rangers
fans are delusional.
Well, why is that?
I might have to go with Toronto on that one. You talk about delusional.
You know what? That is a very good point. But the Rangers have only won 4 cups since 1926. But their fans act like they're like the Yankees of the hockey world, where they have like 20 billion championships. They're great in and out every year, but in reality, their team pretty much stinks.
Well,
they've won 1 cup since World War II. That was like in the 40s or whatever. I know my years are off here, but
they still have, but they still have 94 to claim off of. I mean, in terms of delusional, the Cowboy fans act the same way. People will say the Yankee fans are entitled and they act the same way because they're spoiled brats. Like we hear this all the time about sports fan bases. This is actually the first time I'm hearing someone say anything about Ranger fans. I'll be totally honest with you because the victims are usually Cowboy fans, are usually Yankee fans. Even Laker fans, people will say are spoiled. But I never hear anything about the Ranger fans.
Let me just say this. Like, there are some absolute morons in our fan base. I'll give you that, Charlie. Just to give you an example, I saw a screenshot of a Facebook post like 2 days ago saying why the Rangers should trade Adam Fox. I don't know who that guy was, but I wanted to punch him in the face repeatedly.
What the Rangers should do is fire their head coach. That's what the Rangers should do.
Look, I'm not a huge David Quinn guy, but I don't know if firing him now is the right move.
Well, no, when the season ends, obviously.
Well, I think they're going to stick with him through next season because there's just a lot of factors right now that are hampering the team from being better than they are.
And be sure to watch my team in a month. 10 for
guys, thank you for opening the show today. It was wonderful to see you. Hope you guys are staying safe out there. Be careful. And let's get that chat back and forth. I think the mics are tired. I think Mike is tired of listening to Chicago Fire and Chicago PD recaps every now and then.
And that's a new episode.
I know. I can't. You know what's crazy? I will stay up just to watch Fire. I can't. I will honestly stay up just to watch that show. I know it's tough to watch.
It's so disappointing.
Carl, I actually don't mind when you guys go off about that because I'm just like, oh, okay. They're really into this. This is entertaining.
Do we intrigue you to watch those shows or no?
Dude, I'm so behind on the things I already watch and podcasts I listen to I may not get into those shows for another 3 or 4 years, knowing me.
All right. You guys take care. Yeah.
Quickly. I will say that I love Wednesdays, especially around this time, because I get the sports hit list. Then I get to eat and relax for a little while. Then I get Masked Singer, Fire, and PD, and then I just go to bed.
Listen, I'm so honored the fact that I'm part of your television lineup. That just made my day. The fact that I know that I'm part of your lineup is amazing. That's amazing.
Thank you.
Charlie, you got all those shows. I got my bowling league, so we're good.
Good luck with that. You guys are watching the Sports Hit List by the fans and for the fans. Thank you for joining us as I bring in some NBA contributors to discuss the NBA. We have Mr. Jordan Eugene is in the building. Mr. to numbers. Andres, how you doing, sir?
Fantastic. A little nervous for the football game that I'm watching right now, but doing fantastic. Living a dream.
Jordan, how you doing, sir?
I'm doing very well.
I started off. I'm okay. I took the vaccine. Took my first dose, so I'm
Yes,
hanging
sir.
in there.
Same.
But I started the show off. I don't know if you guys saw it. We're talking about what's going on in this country. It doesn't seem to surprise me that we're here again. Another innocent black man being shot. So condolences to Dante Wright's family. We also saw Lieutenant Karan Narzio and what happened to him in Virginia. So just wanted to get you guys quick thoughts on what's going on.
Well, first of all, I appreciate you letting me use this platform as a form of expressing myself, because I feel like our voices for young men and women in America are getting very silenced today, especially with all the BS that's going on. And it just feels like every day we turn on the news, we see like a new story happen. People talk about it for 48 hours, and then that's it. We're done. Let's move on to the next topic. So with this happening right now, a young kid, 20 years old, he has his own kid himself. Like, it's very sad. You know, a father, a brother, a cousin, someone relevant in life for that family just died. You know, the baby's never going to get to see his dad like grow old with him. And that's very sad because regardless, I don't think that anyone deserves to die. I know people love, every single time someone dies, people love to do background checks on these people, what crime he committed, if he robbed a car or not. And people are like, no, he deserved to die. Like, why should a man deserve to die like over something so small like a warrant? The next thing was the taser thing. Like, that's shocking. Like, you guys are smart. You guys know what a taser looks like, right? And you guys know what a gun looks like, right? There's no confusion. I've never had a confusion knowing that. So it's very sad. But like I said before, every single day we wake up in America where, like Doc Rivers said in the bubble, we love this country, but this country doesn't want to love us back. So that's what I have to say about that.
Jordan.
To be honest with you, the amount of much of a toll that this takes, that everything that's going on right now, whether it be the Derek Chauvin trial, and I'm waking up and I don't even want to watch the trial and actually keep up with it because I'm genuinely afraid of being invested in it and being let down once again, just like I was invested in the Trayvon Martin trial years ago, just to see him get acquitted, just to see other cops not even get arraigned, not get charged with any crimes. The lieutenants that got, the two cops that got fired for assaulting this second lieutenant, and that just shows you that being black, serving your country, and you see what happens when you come home, you see what the hell happens. And then also with Dante Wright, this is also extremely sad. As Andres said, I didn't know that there was such a big difference in a taser and a gun, and just to see that all of this is happening within the black community in present time. You're getting hit left, right, and center. And it's really pathetic. And the country, that we live in is just, people tell you to get over slavery. People have told me that to move on from slavery, to move on from slavery, which is absolutely ridiculous. Because ultimately it's not really over. It really isn't. It really isn't over, whether it be economically, whether it be socially. We are not equal. And to see something like this and to know that even a black man serving the country is not safe. We love the troops so much. America loves its troops so much. They love the white troops. That's what they don't tell you. They love the white troops. They could give a damn about the black ones that come back, because we know what happened years ago when there were black troops that did work and they did serve their country, and they came home and were treated like garbage, plain old garbage. Just like so expendable. It's ridiculous. And honestly, it's really hard on my own mental health, just seeing this and waking up and literally being afraid because of the color of my skin, something I can't control from birth. The police brutality in this is ridiculous. And I really think that, the cops resigning, I think the officer resigning was cowardly. I wish she was fired before she was able to resign. The cops that got fired, that's just literally the bare minimum that you can do is fire those police officers. And Derek Chauvin, God knows what's going to happen to him. I mean, right now, it's really hard to speak about because it really just like it scares you. It really scares, especially. I'm talking to you, Carl, especially. It really scares us. It really scares me, especially as a black man. I know it probably you also. This affects you as well. You think about your wife. I think about my family. I know you're thinking about your family, your friends. I'm thinking about my friends as well, and it's just sad, man. It really is just sad.
Stay strong, my brother. You guys stay strong. I love you guys always. You guys stay strong, and I appreciate always keeping in contact and making sure you guys are safe. That being said, the NBA season, man, there's always a storyline going on. We got some updates. There's a lot of chatty patty stuff going on. I don't want to spend too much time on the chatty patty stuff. I actually want to talk some basketball. The Eastern Conference is shaping up to be something special right now. I mean, I'm not going to sit here and brag and puff my chest because my team has won 4 games in a row. But just looking at the standings, they seem to shift one game at a time. So, Andres, what are your thoughts with the Eastern Conference and what it looks like right now?
Honestly, I feel like this season has been ridiculous. It's been crazy for the players mentally, physically. People think that all these athletes need to show up and dribble and just go do their job and not be concerned with their health. Not to be biased, Carl, but Jason Tatum yesterday, he literally said, I'm close to 100% and I'm using an inhaler before every game because he tested positive for COVID way back when. So the media, they try to bring down these athletes for playing the game that we all love. So I'm not saying you, Carl, but let's say Celtics fan A says Tatum played like crap tonight. Why is he shot chucking? Or Jaylen Brown played like crap tonight. Like these players, people need to realize that they're not robots. They're not cyborgs. They're getting paid millions to play the beautiful game, yada, 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 but they're not cyborgs. So I just have to throw that out there. The Eastern Conference is looking appealing to the average NBA fan that isn't a fan of an Eastern Conference team. If you're a fan of an Eastern Conference team and it's not the Nets, then you're literally fighting for your life right now. 1, 2, and 3, they're separated by, I think, 2 games at most. And then 4 through 10, it's literally Jenga. The Heat lose today, they move down 2 spots. The Celtics win today, they move up 3. The Hawks lose today and tomorrow, they move up 2. It's literally like a Jenga puzzle. So we have 19 games left. God willing, all the players, Harden can get healthy, hopefully, for the playoffs, and B could be close to 100%. I just want to see everyone healthy because that's the number one priority, and that's all I got to say.
Jordan, what are your thoughts with the Eastern Conference and how things are shaping up out there?
I genuinely don't think it matters that, the Sixers right now technically have the number 1 spot. Because I know at the end of the regular season right now the Nets are going to be the number 1 spot. I'm really hoping that the Knicks do end up being the 8 and we could get a 1-8 matchup of Nets and Knicks. Well,
they got to go through the play-in tournament first. It's not as easy as
yes.
Listen, it's not that easy, my brother. It's not like
the play-in tournament. The play-in tournament is a different
stupid.
The play-in tournament is a money grab.
That's
stupid.
a conversation for a different day.
No, it's a conversation we need to have now because I think it's stupid. And the reason why I'm being biased is because my team was in 7th yesterday before they beat Portland.
But you woke up and they're in 5th now. See?
Yeah, I know, but it doesn't. Like, I think it's ridiculous. Like we used to have a format where it was 1 through 8, and now all of a sudden we have to players have to battle. Not only to me, how it doesn't make any sense is you're 7 and 8. You have to fight for those spots, and then you're going to fight to those spots just to lose in the first round. Like what? Like it doesn't make any sense anymore.
And then next year it's like, all right, we're going back to normal.
Right? Yeah. So it doesn't make so next year they're not going to have it.
No, I'm just saying, unless Adam Silver wants more money in his pocket, then he's going to be like, hey, let's do another play-in tournament. Like, why not?
It doesn't make it like. Listen, it doesn't make any. It's like again, hope for your Knicks to make the playoffs, but keep in mind, in order for them to get there, they may have to play 2-3 extra games just to get to the first round.
They got to go through a gauntlet.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense to me at all.
It's funny. But okay, so what's funny? So I despise the Dallas Mavericks. I hope their franchise gets erased. Like I really don't like them. Mark Cuban in December, he was on board with the play-in game, and now he's crying, and now Luka's crying. So it's just like you guys agreed to it in December. Why is all the crying happening right now? Because
their chances are they may not even make it. That's the reason.
Okay, I get that, but in December, everyone was talking about Luka MVP season. The Mavericks are going to be a top 4 seed, and now the tune is changing. Can't have that.
Yeah, Jordan, what are your thoughts on the play-in tournament? You like it?
No. Simply no. Because, I mean, like, it's just ridiculous. Like, why do you have to leave the traditional and try all these new things? There's some things that, like, I could already hear the sound of it, and I already know, okay, I'm going to like this, or okay, I'm going to like that. Like, I loved what they did with the All-Star game not
last year.
Yeah, last year. I love what they did with the All-Star game with, I think, the score, like, changing, right? They had, like, you had to get to a specific score
At the end of the game. Yep.
Yeah. And that made it so much more competitive. And before it even happened, I knew I was going to like it. But this, I mean, a play-in, no. I don't agree with this.
But it's funny, Carl, it's funny because, like, obviously the Celtics own the Sixers, and we can get a Celtics Sixers in the first round, and that would be maybe a Cinderella run.
Yeah, you know what? You know what? It's different. I mean,
you could have that
Cinderella run. I'm not, like, again, I only boast my chest in the beginning of the season when I predicted them to win the championship, because I do that every single year. But I don't know, man. They would literally have to completely turn everything around for that to happen.
Well,
I like the players, Robert Williams. I don't know if we can beat this Sixers team. Joel Embiid has not played like that against us the way he's playing this year. So kudos to him. There is a different coach. Brett Brown is no longer there. It is Doc Rivers. As crazy as I sound for calling Doc Rivers, overrated. I think
he's overrated.
He has a chip on his shoulder.
But again, he does have something to prove.
Yeah.
It's hard for me to bet against my guy, and people are going to call me crazy. Shout out to my guy, Danny Green. Danny Green is on that team, a great role play on that team. So this Sixers team is completely different than the teams we faced in the past. So I don't know if we'd have the mental capacity to defeat them. I'm hopeful, but I don't know.
But you can have the hashtag underdog, hashtag why not us, hashtag Cinderella story. So
we'll see.
You know what I'm saying?
Out west, it's the same, I guess, kind of dogfight for the top 4 seeds. The Suns have been pretty impressive sitting at the 2. The Clippers have the longest winning streak right now in the league at 6 games. And what do we see with the Western Conference here? Again, is it still and the Lakers not having Anthony Davis and LeBron James are still in that mix in the top 5, and people thought they would drop below 6. I was kind of hoping, I was one of those fans hoping they would drop so they could play a playing game, but they're still contending out there. What are our thoughts on the Lakers? Is it a clear favorite for the Lakers to still make it out the West? Jordan?
No. I genuinely think Utah is doing well enough right now that they can kind of hold it. Utah or Phoenix, I think right now is doing really well, and either they're going to make it out or Andres' secret favorite team, the Clippers.
Whoa. Come on, bro. We're on a live show. Behave. Come on.
So I think those are the top 3 teams. It's unfortunate what happened to Jamal Murray. Prayers
really unfortunate. Absolutely.
Prayers up to him for his ACL, and that's not a pretty injury. I know a couple people that have torn ACLs before, and I know it's not a pretty injury. It's not something that's easy to go through. And especially this late in the season, playoffs are right around the corner. For him to do something, for that to happen to him is very unfortunate. But I think right now, like, those are the top 3 teams right now are your best chance of winning the whole conference, of winning the Western.
So the Lakers are not so you said the top 3 teams, that the Lakers are not in that.
The Lakers
category.
are not a top 3 team right now. So no, I do not.
No.
Get out of the West.
You sure about that? Just think about it though. Given the fact that LeBron and AD have been resting, and we know this season what it's been about. I mean, the media is not going to tell us that. Don't give me that James Harden look. You know what I'm talking about. Listen, the media is not going to tell us what happens, but we as fans know this season has been all right. Let me try to rest my best players. The Nets have been doing it all season. Clearly, the Lakers are, and again, having one injury is going to rest them up and get ready for the playoffs. You're talking about a 36 LeBron James fresh, ready to go, a 28-year-old Anthony Davis fresh and ready to go. You don't think that team could possibly beat one of the younger teams out there in the top 3?
See. Right now, you're very optimistic by saying that they're fresh and ready to go. They're coming off of an injury at the end of the day. You know what I mean? So it's not like they're going to
keep it real. Come on, man. Keep it real.
But at the same time, like, they have to get back into the groove. I'm talking about Anthony Davis especially. I mean, Anthony Davis, he's been out for months now. So he's got to get back into his whole
Achilles injuries are no joke.
Yeah, these Anthony Davis's kind of injury, and then LeBron hurt his hamstring, right?
No, high
ankle sprain.
High ankle.
But LeBron is bionic. This is nothing new for
LeBron gets injured. LeBron will be fine. LeBron will be fine. I'm not worried about LeBron. I'm more worried about Anthony Davis.
Okay.
I don't think Anthony Davis, to be honest, like, I don't know about Anthony. Like, you see, this is why I say Anthony Davis is not like. I think a top 5 player could come back from a serious injury like Anthony Davis did and go right back into the swing of things. But Anthony Davis is not a top 5 player, so that's all you need to know.
He's not top 10 either.
He's not top. Well, that's a conversation for a different day.
Andres, what are your thoughts here with the Western Conference?
Listen, man, I'm tired of being on live shows and you not giving Chris Paul flowers, bro. I'm tired of it.
For what?
Tired of it.
What do I need to give him flowers for?
Because the Suns are a top 2 team in the West.
That's great. And they're not going to the finals. Next question.
So let me get this. So you don't
like, we want me to tell you.
So only the playoffs matter to you?
That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying
I'm asking you a question.
No, I'm saying the playoffs matter more than the regular season. We know this. Again, like Kenny Smith said, in the regular season you make your name, in the playoffs you make your fame. I'm not saying Chris Paul is not a great player. I'm not going to take away his Hall of Fame career from him, but something doesn't translate when it comes to the postseason. It's simple. He's a great regular season player that is allowed to increase teams' opportunities to make it to the playoffs. That's cute. But at the end of the day, we're all about, are we not about championships? I'm just letting you know how it is. It's true. We have to give him props as well because he's doing an excellent job coaching that team. So we have to give him just as much credit as we're going to give the players who play well. And sometimes we seem to forget about the coaches and the coaching staff. He's done a great job coaching that team to a second seed.
Okay. So I personally feel like the Jazz are a different team than previous years, but I wouldn't put my money on them to win the conference. Number 2, the Suns. Like I said, if the Suns match up with, let's say, Dallas, then I think the Suns could probably take that. And then in the second round, if they play the Clippers, then the Clippers are probably going to give them problems because the Clippers have everything. They have 2s, they have 3s, they have free throw shooting, they got coaching, they got big men, they got the best snipers in the league. It's ridiculous what Ty Lue has done with that squad. Like you said, Carl, about coaching, I think Ty Lue deserves a lot of credit for what the Clippers are doing this year because they have like 8 players shooting over 40%, which hasn't been done since like the 1990s. The 4 and 5 spot. So a lot of people are saying the Lakers they're staying afloat. They're staying afloat because they haven't played any good teams. Like they haven't beaten an above 500 team since LeBron got injured. They played the Cavs and then the Kings and then the Hornets the other night. So
the Nets.
No, that game doesn't count. Hell no.
Why doesn't that game count?
Because Kyrie got ejected and they didn't have Harden and Kevin Durant playing, or Kevin Durant was playing, but again, someone will be able to tell you that the Nets. It's not like oh my God, they beat the Nets kind of win.
But right. But did the Nets need all those weapons to beat the Lakers without LeBron and Anthony Davis? That's the argument.
You mean all those weapons? They didn't have their big 3.
Okay, but do you need the big 3 to beat a LeBron-less and Anthony Davis-less Lakers? That's the point.
Vogel is a better coach than Steve Nash, so he's a defensive-minded coach, so obviously he's going to get the edge there. As I was saying, with the Jamal Murray injury, if the Nuggets stay at 4 and the Lakers at 5 flirting, I think the Lakers are still going to take that match. Carl, a lot of people were saying that Jokic might have his Dirk run this year. What do you think about that? Let me ask you a question now.
I don't know. I mean, Dirk's run was surrounded by seasoned veterans. That's a big difference. I don't know if the Nuggets don't have seasoned veterans. If you go back to that 2011 team, they had Jason Kidd. They also had Jason Terry. Yeah, they had Jason Terry. They had Sean Marion. They had Tyson Chandler, Deshaun Stevenson, right? Was that on that team?
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. They had Peja Stojakovic. They had a lot of veterans who have been battle tested. I don't yes, the Nuggets have been battle tested in the playoffs, in the bubble playoffs. I don't know if they have if they're capable. I'm not going to sleep on them. I think the Western Conference is just as loaded. I'm not going to sleep on them just yet, which is why I think the playoff dynamic will be definitely interesting. But if he did have a Dirk kind of run, I'd be amazed to see it. I don't know if he has the surrounding. And the other difference too is, again, coaching. Rick Carlisle.
Mike Malone's a great coach. He's a tough coach.
Would you put him in that Rick Carlisle category of coaching? I don't know. That's a tough sell there. You know what I'm saying? That's a tough sell.
A lot of people have Luka as a top 10 player. So Rick Carlisle has a top 10 player, and he's a 7th seed.
True. Fair. That's fair. I can't argue that. One other point I want to make that people are forgetting about in that play-in tournament that I know I just made the argument against the play-in tournament. Now I'm going to be a hypocrite and make the argument
for the devil's advocate, man. Devil's advocate.
I'm going to be a hypocrite. It's okay. Stephen Wardell, I call him Wardell. His mama named him Wardell. I'm going to call him Wardell. I know he may not like it. Wardell will be in the play-in tournament Do not sleep on Wardell. Do not sleep on the 3-time NBA champion. Do not sleep on the 2-time MVP. And those are for the people in the comments.
Of all time.
Yes, do not sleep on Steph Curry in the playoffs. And you give Steph Curry that situation where it's a play-in game and a play-in tournament, he could do some amazing things. So that's all I'm going to say. I'm not going to sit here and say that they could upset a 1 seed, but I will say,
but they could.
You put him in.
Wait a minute. Wait,
let him finish his statement.
Wait, no. So he's talking about Steph, right?
Yes.
But here's the thing. When has Steph made it to the finals without at least one other Robin to his Batman?
2015. You need good players to make the finals. You're not going to make the finals with one player.
No one is saying it, but Jordan, listen, you're getting ahead of yourself. I didn't sit here and say that they're going to make the finals. That's not what I said.
No, you said he could do some noise.
I said he could do some noise. I'm not saying he can't, but this is the opportunity. Say it again?
Yes.
We don't know. Yes. He's never been in that situation. You don't know. Steph has never been in that situation. He's always had the players around him, right? Steph is never from
and where's Steph now?
From 2015.
Where's Steph now in the regular season? Where's Steph now?
From 2015.
He's out of the top 8. He's a 10th seed right now.
Because
they're 1-7 without him. They're 25-25 with him. They're like 1-7 without him.
I'm not sitting here saying that.
Beating his head from when Steph dropped 33 points in the second half against the Rockets like 3 years ago. Stop it. 2 years ago. Stop it.
Listen, I'm not saying that.
Who did Dirk beat in that finals that one time?
When was that? I don't remember.
2011.
Listen. We're not going to get into that. All I'm saying is be very mindful of Steph Curry. Okay, that's all I'm saying is that Steph Curry and the Warriors, Draymond Green as well, when they start playing and they start clicking, even though they're missing Klay Thompson, when you have championship-proven players, I think they could possibly make some noise. I'm just saying they're a sleeper team. I'm not saying they're going to go to the finals. That's a stretch. That's a reach. That's a different conversation. All I'm saying is in the play. Listen, I'm saying in the play-in tournament, though, you're looking at
they wouldn't do noise in the play-in tournament.
I don't do this. I normally don't do this.
I'm not going to put my money on the Memphis Grizzlies to beat the Warriors.
They wouldn't do anything in the play.
Listen, can I finish? This goes against everything I believe. Me saying this on record, this goes against all of my beliefs in the Carcoulange Bible of beliefs. You put a Steph Curry in the 8th seed against a Utah, a team who didn't make it that far. You don't tell me that's an interesting series. Steph Curry in the 8th seed against a 1 seed. You don't tell me that gets a little spicy.
No,
think about it. Just think for a second. No, again, take your.
I think for 1 second.
Take your contacts out if you have contacts, or just see the vision. You put a Steph Warrior, a Wardell Steph Curry team in the 8th seed as an underdog going into the playoffs against a 1 seed Utah Jazz team that really hasn't been that far. You don't tell me that makes it interesting, and you don't even have fans in the stadium. You're crazy. You need to watch more basketball. That
doesn't make it interesting. How does that make it interesting?
It makes it very interesting. Absolutely.
Wait. Look at Utah and then look at Golden State. Like, we're not talking individual. We're talking team now.
That's
Golden State is that much better? Like, who's guarding? I hate Rudy Gobert, but who's guarding Rudy Gobert?
Draymond is gonna make life hell for him, bro.
They have, Joe Ingles. Who's guarding Joe Ingles?
It doesn't matter. All that matters is who's guarding Steph. That's the question. Nobody.
Who's guarding Donovan Mitchell?
He can guard himself. It's not like he shows up in the playoffs.
That's all I'm saying. Listen, I'm not saying that. Listen, all I'm saying is that it can get interesting.
Oh, wait. I got breaking news. 0 NBA players have tested positive for coronavirus out of 488 tests in the last week.
That's amazing. Congrats to that. Before I let you guys go, we wanted to talk about something was floating in the comments about Steve Kerr and him being an overrated coach. Now that the Warriors are not, I guess, in contention for a playoff spot, or they're not where they used to be.
Okay, Jordan, he's ready.
So talking about Steve Kerr and his coaching abilities, the Hitler streets, they seem to love this word overrated. That word gets thrown around weekly. So
daily, hourly,
by the minute. So the topic of Steve Kerr being a head coach and seeing what he is now and what he was during the Warriors run, Jordan, what are your thoughts?
He's about to empty the clip.
Where do I start? Oh my gosh. Okay. So first and foremost, we're going to start off by 2015 was Mark Jackson's team, not Steve Kerr's team. Is that fair to say?
No, it's not.
Okay, that's your opinion, but I'm just saying there's nobody else that got brought beyond that. You're not like Steve Kerr. Look at what Steve Kerr is doing this season. Okay, look at what Steve Kerr is doing this season. I think one of his rings was not really his ring, to be honest. I think maybe it's just like in Steph that was just like something just came out of Steph and Steve Kerr just said shoot more and he shoots more. And then all of a sudden he realized that he's the greatest shooter of all time. Maybe something just clicked in that 2014 offseason. So in 2015 they come in and they get the ring, right? But let me break it down on why Steve Kerr is not the coach he seems to be. What is he doing right now?
He's the coach of the Warriors.
No, what is he doing right now with the Warriors? What is he doing right now with the Warriors?
He's the 10th seed.
He's a 10th seed, right?
But
that is a coach. Rick Carlisle, that is a coach. Do you understand where I'm going with this?
No, I don't. Really,
no, I don't.
Because you need players to play.
Carl, you know what would be a good debate? Superstars versus coaching. What's more important? That would be a great debate.
Wait, say that again. Super what?
Superstars versus NBA coaching.
It's a toss up because I don't understand when people say that about again, we're gonna sit here and use the argument when people talk about great coaches, right? But the great coaches have great players, right? The only argument you could potentially have, I can give you, maybe, okay, Rick Carlisle's a great coach. He had that one great run with only one superstar and another bunch of stars around him. Eric Spoelstra, you're going based off of last year. That's it, right? You're not going based off of the years prior to that, right?
Whoa.
I'm just being honest. Let's talk about it. No,
do not slander.
I'm not slander. I'm not. I'm giving you the facts. I'm not going to slander. I'm going to give you the facts. You want to talk about, again, aside from last year, which was a great run, I'm not going to disrespect that. Before the prior to that, where was Eric Spoelstra in the conversation of coaching? No one. We don't talk about Eric Spoelstra. We weren't talking about that, were we?
Yeah, bro.
No. I know what they're paying you to say. No, stop. No, wait. No. You can't mute me. I'm the host. I can mute you. No, I can mute you. I know. See, I'm the host. Like, he can't mute me. I can mute you. That's what I'm saying. So I don't know what you're talking about. Let me finish my point, and then you can get to your point. What I'm trying to have you understand is, again, no one was really discussing who Eric Spoelstra was because we talked about him with the Big Three era in Miami. Were we not, right? Again, see, we can't hear him yet. Wait till I finish my point. All I'm saying is that up until last year, no one really discussed who Eric Spoelstra was. So don't sit here and try to claim he was the best coach in the league.
But here's the thing. Can you give me two superstars on Miami right now? You can give me two stars. You can't give me two superstars.
Well, according to the people in the hit list, Jimmy Butler's a superstar. So, no, go ahead. Make your point. Now I finish. You can go now.
Okay. So for me personally, a lot, in my humble opinion, a lot of Celtics fans don't like to credit Brad Stevens. The only series that
you don't like to credit Brad Stevens, you saying? Or Eric Spoelstra?
No, Brad Stevens. I'm talking about Brad Stevens.
Okay.
The only series that Brad Stevens should have won was last year against Miami. I'm going to break it down. 2017, he ran into LeBron James. 2016, he ran into LeBron James. 2018, he ran into LeBron James. 2019, he ran into Giannis, and maybe they had the schemes and everything. But for me personally, Brad Stevens is still a top 5 coach. For me, in my book, my amazing book, I still believe that Brad Stevens is a top 5 coach.
Can I hear your top 5 coaches?
Right now, Spo, Brad Stevens, Quinn Snyder, Mike Malone, and probably Rick Carlisle, honestly.
But again, back to the original question, Jordan, what would make Steve Kerr overrated? Because he's struggling right now without having one of his top players there.
Wait, Carl, let me finish this point about Spo.
They're completely lost their face. They're not the same Warriors. They're not the same. There's nothing interesting about Golden State.
Well, clearly you lost Kevin Durant. I mean, you're not going to lie. You lost Kevin Durant. You lost Sean Livingston. You lost
Klay Thompson.
You lost Klay Thompson. You just go back in history. Andre Iguodala. They've lost basically half their team. They have to restructure. So what?
It's the first year with the new coaching staff.
So why does him having 3 superstars automatically make him a good coach?
3 superstars. Who are the 3 superstars?
I know who he's talking about.
Okay.
He's talking about Draymond Green. He's talking about Klay Thompson. He's talking about Steph Curry. That's his.
Klay Thompson is not a superstar, and neither is Draymond. Draymond was a top.
So then you know what, Jordan? In reverse, then you asked the question: what makes a good coach?
Oh my God!
The ability to do well.
Well, with what?
Players.
Players,
standings, and
okay.
make sure that you're always there.
Okay, so name me. Okay, so name me.
Look at the Spurs. Look at the Spurs. Why are the Spurs ahead of the Warriors?
What about the Spurs?
They have more
Spurs
talent.
Don't have a superstar
because they have more talent than they have more talent than the Warriors.
Wait. We're talking superstars versus coaching. That's what I'm talking right now.
No, so what makes a good quality coach? Because one could say about Greg Popovich, he's always had the talent. You need the talent, though, right? Do you not?
Has he always had the talent, though?
Yes. What are you talking about? They're Spurs.
What about the year Kawhi wasn't playing? What about
what year was that? Playing? Refresh my memory. What year was that?
2018. They got swept by the Warriors.
Did they make
2018?
No, they got.
Talking about the year that Kawhi got hurt
by the Warriors.
Off of Zaza Pachulia that year?
No. He said when Kawhi wasn't there. When Kawhi wasn't there was 2018, which was when they made the 8th seed and they got swept by the Warriors.
Right, but again, did they have talent? That's my point.
Yeah,
what talent did they really have?
They had real talent.
They had LaMarcus Aldridge. I mean, he's.
No, come on. We're not going to count that. Stop. Come on. Let's be serious.
Are you done? Stop. Can I make my points now?
Go ahead, please.
Listen. My thing is, look at some of these teams that are actually doing halfway deep. Like, bro, I'm just saying.
You still didn't answer my question about I need to answer what's a good quality coach so we can deem what's overrated and what's not. We need to answer that question.
A good quality coach is always being right there underneath. Right, and not making excuses and not relying on 2, 3, 4 superstars to actually do something in the playoffs. That's a good coach.
So all the coaches who rely on superstars are not good coaches.
Listen.
Answer. Is that what you're saying?
I didn't say that.
Be careful. Tread lightly. So you're saying
Pop is a good coach whether he has the Twin Towers or whether he has old dudes like whether he had. Tony Parker, Manu Ginobili still playing, right? He's always going to be a good coach. That's just not his problem. But Steve Kerr hasn't shown anything that's like, wow, what a coach. I hear these sound bites from Steve Kerr where it's just like the way he's talking to like Kevin Durant.
Wait, time out. That's what you're doing? You want to go watch the game? That's what you're doing? Andres, I was wondering what you were doing. You were watching the game?
Let me hear something that's more.
Hold on, Jordan. 1 second. Andres, that's what you're doing back there? Because I'm curious about what is he looking at?
Yes.
Oh, he's watching a soccer game. Okay, go ahead. Go ahead, Jordan. Finish your point.
But like, what is Steve Kerr's like clear like drawing board? Like he's gonna do this.
He didn't change the Warriors' offense.
Huh?
He didn't change the Warriors' offense.
All he told him to do was shoot.
Yes, he did.
He did change the stuff. Again, let's look at your argument was that it was Mark Jackson's team, right? How far did they make it with Mark Jackson versus Steve Kerr?
All he did was tell them to shoot.
But Mark Jackson was the same person who said that he had the best backcourt in NBA history when he was coaching them, so they were shooting with him, no? So what's the difference? What are you talking about?
Can I make my point now?
Okay, go ahead. Andres, make your point.
This is going to be simple. It's quick math. In 2014, with Mark Jackson, the Warriors were the 12th ranked offense in the league and the 4th ranked defense. In 2015, when they gave the keys to Steve Kerr, they were the number 2 offense, the number 1 defense. They had the best net rating in the league. And Steve Kerr went up to Draymond Green and he said, "You're not a small forward, you're a power forward." They got rid of David Lee and they played Draymond at the 4 and they won 67 games. The next year, he told Steph, "Steph, you're going to be more aggressive. We're going to win 73 games." Guess what they did? Steph was more aggressive. He was the first unanimous MVP, greatest offensive season of all time. They won 73 games, and Steph had the greatest offensive season of all time. They had the number 1 offense. They had the number 2 defense, period. That's it. Simple argument.
Yeah, and Jordan still didn't answer the question. And Jordan, you still didn't answer the question about what's a good coach either. You still didn't answer that question.
I answered your question. Where were you going with that?
Me?
Yes. Where were you going with that?
They went from the number 12 offense to the number 1 offense with a different coach. And they won 67 games in the first year. And he unlocked Draymond Green after he said that he was a small forward. Do
you think Mike D'Antoni is a good coach?
Someone just asked that. Someone just asked that in the comments.
Carl, do you think Mike D'Antoni is a good coach?
He's a good coach. He's not a great.
He's a good offensive coach. I'll give him that. It. Yeah, like he can draw up a good offensive plays. Yeah, he does that. But as far as coaching defense or whoever is on his defensive teams, they don't play any defense. So would I put Mike D'Antoni in my top 5 coaches all time? Probably not. Not even top. I don't know, top 10. I'd have to make my list. I think because again, his teams get run off because they don't play defense, and we've seen it from time to time.
Top 5 all time.
Now,
Top 5 all time.
No, not right
Top
now.
10 all
Absolutely.
time.
Top 10 all time? No, I wouldn't either. I wouldn't put him up there either. But that doesn't mean I'm qualifying him as overrated, though.
He's not the best coach in the league.
Nobody ever said that. That wasn't the question.
Okay,
That wasn't the question.
So hold on. In order to be overrated, right, you have to be rated something. So what are we rating him? Because I'm assuming, I assumed, which was wrong with me, I assumed that you guys thought he was the greatest thing since sliced bread.
That's not what we're saying because people are saying that he's. I'm saying that people are saying that he's overrated. Right, but people are saying that he's overrated, though. They're saying that we're overrating him as a coach. That was the original question. And you're saying, yes, he is. Silence.
I don't think
silence. Silence.
some of them rings count.
Why? How? He coached the team. What are you talking about?
Okay.
What are you talking about? He coached the team.
Listen,
what are you talking about? You're making no sense right now. You're making no sense right now.
I'm going to go cross sports right now.
You're making no logic right now. So now you're going to another sport to make a point. You're making no points right now.
Because sports are sports. So follow me. It's almost like saying it's almost like saying that Luke Longley is a champion, right? And it's figure. You're just there. You're holding a position. You're literally watching Kevin Durant.
So why didn't they win? So why didn't they win with Mark Jackson then?
They were like a 7th seed.
They won 1 year without Mark.
How many years did Mark Jackson coach that team? Like
they won 1 year without Mark Jackson before Kevin Durant joined them.
So why was Draymond Green coming off the bench and playing as a small forward instead of a power forward and starting?
Mark Jackson.
Crickets.
Mark Jackson. Okay, so hold on. What do you rate him then? If he's overrated, what do you rate him then?
Steve Kerr, he's a top 15 coach. I don't know, 15.
He's a good coach. He made a difference in that Warriors team.
Draymond, man, come on.
He made a difference in that Warriors team.
He made Draymond a top 10 player in the league, bro.
A good coach. Seriously. A good coach to me is basically finding out what your players are good at and
maximize it.
Yes, and putting them in those positions to succeed. That's what a good coach
Brad
does.
Stevens took a team without Kyrie with a sophomore, a rookie at small forward, someone who came off the bench in Terry Rozier and Al Horford to 1 game away from the NBA Finals, and he lost to LeBron James. Like, that's not a good coach?
Before Ty Lue became the Clippers head coach this season, did we consider him a good coach?
Ty Lue? Hell yeah, he's a good coach.
Before the season?
Yes, he was a good coach. Listen, okay, so to counter your argument, the Cavs, when they fired David Blatt, they were 31-10. Why'd they fire David Blatt?
What happened to him after that?
At the end of the day,
what happened to him after that?
Listen, at the end of the day, Jordan, I think you need to evaluate what constitutes a good coach and what doesn't constitute a good coach.
I told you what I believe a good coach is in my book.
Say it one more time. Is what?
I told you it's someone that doesn't always need to rely on 2-3 superstars to still be.
So does that mean the coaches that rely on 2 or 3 superstars to win are overrated? Is that what you're saying? No, answer the question, because that's what you're saying.
The coach. You
what
can't
do you
just
mean?
go black and white. It depends on the coach.
You literally just said that a good coach is someone that doesn't rely on 2 or 3 superstars in order to win.
That doesn't always need to.
So based on your logic,
still stay valid.
So okay, Phil Jackson,
Pat Riley,
Popovich is not an elite coach.
Right.
Phil
Jackson didn't need. Hold on. Phil Jackson did not need all them superstars to be valid, though.
So why didn't he do anything with the Knicks? Because he wasn't the coach. That's what you're gonna say?
Well, yeah, that kind of
crickets.
He wasn't the coach.
So he's talking about Pat Riley. No, not Phil Jackson. Phil Jackson wasn't the coach of the Knicks. So.
No. Phil Jackson was like in the front office with the Knicks.
Right, but we're talking about
Pat
coaching
Riley
though.
In the 90s?
Same thing. Yeah. Did you not?
Pat
Riley.
How many superstars were on that Knicks team?
Pat Riley won 5 championships with the Lakers. They said, come to the Knicks. He went to the Knicks. He took that team to the finals. Then he said, come to the Heat, and he won.
How many superstars were on that Knicks team?
Listen, Jordan, I just think, listen, Jordan, I just think.
How many superstars were on that Knicks team?
I just think your point.
How many superstars were on that Knicks
One, maybe. Team? One and Patrick Ewing, maybe. I don't know. Maybe
you think
one.
Patrick Ewing's a superstar?
He was a superstar in the 90s, yeah. He was a top 10 player.
Yeah. He was not a superstar? Have a good day. Have a good day. Have a good day.
It's the Worldwide Sports Radio Network.